Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Hey, everybody. Hi, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. We got a great show tonight, folks. Let me listen. This is coming all the way from Wildwood, New Jersey. It's coming from the Boardwalk live tonight from Wildwood, New Jersey. And we've got Randy Senna coming up in just a minute. Let me introduce you to my co-host, as I always do. There she is, the one and only. Caught you off guard, Jack. There you go.
Yes.
Did you see your credits tonight?
I did. Thank you so much. I always wanted to be a princess.
There you go. Well, I figure since this is a little bit of a Disney night, because of the background of this fella, and quite frankly, his attitude, if you will, and his whole demeanor.
He's quite delightful.
Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a really good time.
I think so.
I'm beyond excited. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from his car on the Boardwalk in Wildwood, New Jersey, we're going to Randy Land, ladies and gentlemen. It's Randy Senna. There he is.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Hey, Randy.
Down in Florida.
It is absolutely, well, Jack doesn't like the heat. What the hell is she doing here? I don't know. But
it's a long story.
We had a beautiful day
right now because it's a little on the cold side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was warm here today. It got up to 91.
Really?
So,
wow.
And I did a little bit of gardening myself. Pigeon Patrol Products and Services. Love Randy. Randy.
There you go.
I thought I'd just throw that in there because they're right there. They're saying that even as we speak. There they are. So what's going on, buddy?
Well, I'm here to give everybody from Disney and all the former cast members and all this a little special tour of how Disney lives on beyond the main gate. So it should be an interesting night. I think everybody's going to enjoy it.
Good.
I'm joining in on that, how they beyond the main gate. There it is.
There we go. Look at him. He's got his hat. I got my hat on. I'm sitting in the car. I'm holding a flashlight. I'm holding a flashlight for illumination because it is pitch dark right now and a little bit foggy. But I wanted to start in the car because I wanted to start with a little, pre-introduction so people understand where did Randy Senna come from as far as being involved with Disney is concerned. Right. So, in short, I'm one of the kids that grew up just like the rest of us old timers who watched the Mickey Mouse Club on television and reruns in the 60s. And, of course, the Wonderful World of Disney after it was the Wonderful World of Color every Sunday night at 7 o'clock. And it was just a magnificent time that we always looked forward to these type of things that's kind of lost today. People don't understand what it is to look forward to something on a Sunday night anymore. It's kind of lost. But, in 1971, in October, Walt Disney World opened on October 1st. Mm-hmm. And my parents were fortunate enough to take me to Walt Disney World for my very first trip in the spring of 1972. So I was there pretty early on. And my mom had never been to Disneyland other than one time. She was there the third day that Disneyland opened. And the story that she tells was how they were so totally unprepared and they didn't have anything and it was a disaster. And, there's old stories to that effect. But she still remembered it was a nice place. So here we were going to go to Walt Disney World. And I was not knowing what to expect. Like anybody else back then, nobody knew just what was coming when you went to a Disney vacation. Mm-hmm. We stayed at the Contemporary Resort Hotel, And there were only really two choices at that time. It was the Contemporary or the Polynesian.
Polynesian.
And we had a room in the towers. We were on the 10th floor, and it was room 4624, all the way at the far end on the north side, facing the bay, the bay view of Bay Lake. And everything we did was magnificent. It was something you just fell in love with. But what did you really fall in love with? People don't even realize it sometimes. It is the people who work there that make the magic of Walt Disney World. They live the dream. And this is something that is so, so special because everybody was just so wonderful. And for a very good reason. They were handpicked to be the elite of the elite. In the beginning, Disney had their choice to pick who was going to be representing them. They didn't have that many jobs to fill. So it was very selective. And I was a kid who went through school, and I was a little bit of an outcast. I was the one who was bullied, who was picked on. I didn't have a lot of friends because I was different. And you too, huh? Well, I guess we all fall in the club. Maybe a lot of us Disneyites actually fall in this category. So going to Disney where everybody was happy and everybody was your friend, the big smiles and everything was amazing to me. And we were there for 10 days, which was really long for stays back then. Most people weren't there more than a night, 2 nights. We were there 10 days. And I don't mind telling you that back then you only had the Magic Kingdom. You only saw maybe 3 attractions all day long because you had to wait in line. Everything was a line. And you didn't mind waiting in line because that was part of the experience. You got to meet people, where they're from. It was part of the adventure, which unfortunately now seems to be taken away, particularly when they started Fast Pass and everybody's just trying to hurry from thing to thing. They lost a lot of that interaction and magic. And the people who worked at Disney at that time were the personality that gave life to the park. Yes, it's still like that today, but much more so in the beginning. So more so that I wanted to never leave Walt Disney World. And when it came time that our vacation was up, I stood on the fire escape right outside of our room at the Contemporary and looked over at the Magic Kingdom glowing in the dark. Because back then they closed at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, unless it was summertime. They weren't open late. So, we're saying goodbye. And I had tears in my eyes running down my face because I didn't want to leave. And I made the biggest wish possible. That little 11-year-old kid wished and prayed never to have to leave Walt Disney World. And I carried that wish with me for a long time. We went back every year very loyally. We got to see many of the faces who were the icons in the shows or doing jobs year after year. They became like old friends. And then at one point, I got to be a cast member. And that was quite a thrill for me. I remember going to orientation. And after the 3rd day, they gave you your name tag. The name tags were sitting on a table. I went over there, and when I saw my name on that name tag, it was magic. Absolute magic. I had now become part of that magic. And I can't tell you how thrilled I was. I was then going to live the dream. As close to living there as you possibly could, as I made that dream when I was 11, I was there all the time. I was hired as a perm. And that meant I was there 365 days a year with very exclusions of days off. And it's an interesting thing. I was not hired for Main Street. I was hired to be an arcade mechanic in arcade maintenance.
I wonder how that happened.
Well, I was operating an arcade already on the Boardwalk in New Jersey. And I started in business for myself when I was 18 years old. And the Boardwalk was another fond memory place for me. And we had expanded into a couple operations. It says we, my family, my mom, my dad worked along with me. And I got hit by 2 major Boardwalk fires within 6 months of each other in the early 80s. And when this happened, I was like, well, wow, what am I going to do? And I got the bright idea. I'm going to apply to go see if I can go work at Disney and just escape it all. And I was hired basically through the mail and on the telephone with interviews for my skills as an arcade mechanic, because they needed specialized workers to fix the machines, particularly with the penny arcade, because they were the older games and very, very specialized with electromechanical technology. They were hiring at the time Air Force electronic technicians after they got out of the Air Force, and they knew how to fix computers and even radar systems, but they had a hard time fixing arcade games, particularly old ones. Back then, they were not computerized. So they hired me. They told me I'd have to come down to Florida and start living there, and they would take me in because I was going to replace a man who was retiring. They didn't know exactly when he was retiring, but it was going to be soon, and they wanted me to come down. So we went down, and we looked around to buy a house, and we bought a property near SeaWorld in Williamsburg. And that was as close to property as you could buy back then. Everything else was all, undeveloped land. To be that close to Disney was very, very difficult. So we bought the house, and I moved down there, and they told me to check in with casting when I got down. And I did. I remember the casting man's name was Bob Walters, and I didn't know it at the time. He was kind of a specialized casting agent. He wasn't just your regular casting. He was for professional staffing more so, and trades. So he told me the man who was retiring still hadn't retired yet, but they said I could either wait and I'll be notified when he retires, or they could give me another job in the meantime. And I says, well, I don't mind doing something else. I mean, I like being at Disney World. Why sit home? So they placed me on Main Street operations, and their thinking was Main Street operations had control over the penny arcade on Main Street. Yeah. Well, that was true, but not exactly as maybe they thought so, looking at it on the paper in casting, because Main Street controlled everything. Anything that goes on in Main Street operations basically controlled, and penny arcade was only a small part of that. The arcade machines were maintenance by arcade maintenance, and coins were controlled by cash control, and custodials did the cleaning. So what did we do? We were coordinators. We were coordinators of everything: the Main Street Cinema, of course, the Firehouse, the Main Street vehicles, and of course the Walt Disney Story. Basically, all events take place on Main Street because that's the beginning of everything. Main Street is like the focal point. So we were parade coordinators, show coordinators in front of the castle. Wow. All these things were run by Main Street. Any special event was under Main Street. So it was actually a very, very intricate department that was very, very specialized and had a lot of control. Unlike if you worked in an attraction job at Peter Pan and you're walking a treadmill, or going to a Small World and loading people into boats. Main Street, you were on your feet and you had the rein from one end to the other. So we were very, very independent. We were hired to be independent, articulate, usually good looking, because their theory was we were the first people you were going to meet after you had your ticket stamped and came in. You were the last.
I just want to point out that's a fact. I'm showing a picture of you right now. I'm in the
front of the train station there, and that's Phil Hopkins and Jeff Seary. And Phil worked Jungle Cruise at that time, and Jeff Seary had come to Main Street, and I don't think he stayed too long, and then he moved on. And that's how I looked basically all the time on Main Street. You saw me in my black and whites, and we didn't wear the outside jacket because it was hot unless it was cold in the winter. Then we wore the outside jacket as well.
And there's a terrific photo that I'm assuming you made is this one.
Yeah,
you're working. You're actually working at Walt Disney World in this one, and you're visiting Walt Disney World in the second one.
Correct. That's 30 years in between there.
Wow.
And I haven't changed that much. I know a lot of people who have changed a lot, but I could pass for who I was. And it's pretty amazing. What's
really fun is you're wearing your hat in that picture.
I am. I'm wearing my hat now.
I know you are. I rarely see you without it, quite frankly. Unless it's a very cold day.
I started wearing the hat only a few years ago when I was starting a game called Bazooka Blasters, and I figured, what am I saving my hat for? It was an intricate part of who I was. You never saw me in Disney without the hat. That was part of our costume. if you worked in the Walt Disney Story, because it was indoor, technically you weren't supposed to wear your hat. But if I wasn't scheduled to do Disney Story for the whole day and I was sent in there, I was wearing the hat because my hair was hat hair. And if you took the hat off, my hair looked exactly like it did when I had my hat on. It was formed inside. And there's actually a picture, I don't know if you got it or not, with me at the Castle Show with the Kids of the Kingdom show band. And one of the band guys took my hat, and he's wearing it when we snapped the picture. And that's probably the only outdoor picture you'll ever see of me on duty at Disney without my hat. So
somehow I missed that one.
Say I had the best hair in show business.
You got a lot of pictures.
That's for sure.
Out there. You know, this guy does everything.
We watch Castle shows. Oh yeah, we watch Castle shows 5 times a day. Parades,
Randy,
you know, however many times they ran.
Can I ask you something real quick? Were you still doing that in 73?
In 73, I wasn't working at Disney. I was still a guest at 73.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. The reason
I didn't start Disney until actually I was hired in 84.
Okay.
I was 24 years old because I was born in 60.
It's 84.
So I was really too young to have worked there in the 70s because I was 11 when it opened.
Baby.
So you are pretty much the same age.
Yeah.
Really a year apart.
We're very close. So we remember the same things and the same people. So working on
let me tell you something, Randy. Just so you know, I almost teared up when you were talking about standing there looking at the Magic Kingdom from the balcony, etc., and saying what you said, because quite frankly, I had the same experience as you.
You know, I think it's amazing how many of us do. And I think that's why we were selected to work there, because we love it. And we're still part of that dream. We still live it, even beyond the main gate. And it's interesting because they're having their 50-year anniversary coming up real soon. Yeah. And they're missing the boat, because that 50 years should be about the legacy of what 50 years created, the seeds that were planted in our hearts early on that we carry to all corners of the world. And our influence has blossomed into other ways that stemmed from the seed planting, from the original magic and the original pixie dust that unfortunately is not the same today.
No.
And it's a very sad thing. When I go back, I go every year. I didn't go this year because of the COVID. I couldn't go down to Florida. But you know, I'm always trying to spread the old magic that once was. And I see so many areas that need that magic spread to them. And I'm always trying to do it. And I sometimes wish that I could come back for a while, just for a while, to bring some of that old pixie dust magic and spread it so the seeds can grow further. Because when we're gone, where will that come from? Because we carry it. We're the ones who have it. In the beginning, you know, all the people who worked there with the dream, because they grew up watching and living, and it was Walt's dream. It didn't become so much of a company as it is today until around 87, when they changed the name to Walt Disney Company rather than Walt Disney Productions. And that was to show people that they are a company and they're there to be in business to make money. And it was probably necessary, but that comes with a cost. It's not all about money. It was never all about money for us as cast members. It still isn't all about money to me in everything I do. So part of the magic is lost if you're looking at dollars and cents. It can't be about dollars and cents. I get it. It's a big corporation. There's nothing wrong with that. And the people who are running the corporation have to look at the dollars and cents. I get that. But the Magic Kingdom specifically, which is the #1 place, and all of the parks should be out of that loop of as far as worrying about budgets and finances, because we create the image of what Disney is. We are the magic. And that is, as they talk about their brand, that is their brand. To tarnish the brand is to tarnish all aspects of the company's offerings, whether it's TV, merchandise, whatever it is. You cannot tarnish the brand. The brand should be sterling, and that means the parks who have the hands-on feeling and touch with the guests who come there that can spread that magic should have the red carpet to do that. I feel in many cases they're restricted right now and have been for a long time.
Yeah.
And that kind of bothers me. They take away a lot of the things that were once there through an entertainment budget, including the Penny Arcade. The Penny Arcade doesn't exist anymore. It hasn't for a long time.
No.
Was it a business decision? Sure. That T-shirt store, or whatever you want to call it, will make 25 times the amount of money that the arcade made without the cost.
Same with the magic shop. I cry every time they put the facade back.
Absolutely. But
the nostalgia of it, unfortunately, is taken away.
But
yes.
Randy,
and
listen,
specialty things were under
an
go on
that.
Budget.
Yeah, we could go on that for a while, but you know what? I am foaming at the mouth for the next part of this adventure, buddy. So could you
let me get out of the car and start walking you in, because it's hard. I'm trying to hold a flashlight at my face in order to get any kind of light on me, which is difficult. So out of the car I go.
And in the meantime, we know that Randy. We also know that Randy is still waiting for a Federal Express package.
Yes.
No, I got that one, including DHL.
Oh, good, because they're wondering if you did.
I'll show you. Here's the car that I use most of the time around here, and you'll notice my special license plate. If you can read that, can you read that?
That's funny.
Yes, I can. And interesting to note, if nobody knows this.
Okay, because I've had a lot of notoriety for what I do here, and I've done a number of shows. And when I'm looking to be sporty, this is my other car, if you can see that. This is, of course, a 1976 Corvette Stingray. Nothing new for me.
Nice.
So I'm still that 70s kid who wants to live, the dreams going all through my childhood. I'm still that little kid. Talk about Peter Pan. I guess I'm the ultimate Peter Pan. Now, we're approaching the corner of my store right here.
Interesting that you would say you're the ultimate Peter Pan. Let me just show you something that I downloaded
if you can
today.
see it,
I don't
this
think
is the main street of Wildwood. This is the downtown main street with all the stores. And over here, we have, can you read it?
The Emporium. Boy, that looks vaguely familiar.
This is the Emporium.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this building is the same yellow brick soapstone that you have on the Emporium at Main Street at Walt Disney World. This was an old Woolworth's department store. And when I saw this, I saw the Emporium. It didn't say Emporium. It didn't even say Woolworths at that time. Woolworths had moved out. But I bought it because, you know what? I've got my own Emporium right on Main Street, and here we are. And the red ribbon signs, which are, traditional to the 5 and 10s, if you can read it with the light, it says Randyland, because this is my world based upon my life in the amusement business. So, and I'll tell you a funny story. Randyland, the notion, you see the RLs on my door stands for Randyland. The notion for Randyland actually started when I was working on Main Street at Walt Disney World. And what happened was I used to have a special flair with everything I did and the way I handled the guests, even a question on where the bathroom was. That was an opportunity for me to give them a performance. So Main Street was a small group of guys that worked there. When I worked there were like 12 permanent Main Street guys who worked 7 days a week in different shifts, and we had to handle it all. And they were good, but they weren't theatrical. I was. So every time, I was with one of my guys, and we were in partners a lot of times, and somebody would come over, or I was doing a parade performance, and it would start, I would go into a big routine, and they would be standing there, and they would be feeling a little bit on the dumb side. Well, I didn't mean to make them feel dumb or anything, but a lot of them, they got the idea that it wasn't fun to work with me because I would always steal the show. Well, I was just doing my best. I didn't mean to overpower anybody or anything of this nature. So one day I was in our lead office. We used to call it the bomb shelter, and it was there under the train station.
They still call it that, buddy.
They still do.
Sure
and
do.
somebody got in trouble one time. Remember when we had the beepers that would beep and it would come with sound, and somebody would talk in the phone, it would come over the beepers? Well, one day one of the leads was talking to a guest because there was some problem, and they beeped the lead and they told him to come to the bomb shelter right away. And the guest heard it. They were scared to death because they thought there was a bomb. So after that, they weren't allowed to refer to it as the bomb shelter on the beeping anymore because you're scared the hell out of people. Which is a valid point. But so one day, one of the guys comes in. We're all sitting around there, and he says, "Well, guess what? They're coming out with the new guidebooks next week." And everybody's like, "Oh, great! You know, what are they going to have different?" And he says, "Well, there's going to be a new land, and it's going to be Randy Land." And when I heard that, I jumped up and I says, "What a wonderful land that would be. Everywhere you go, an audio animatronic Randy waiting to greet you." And of course, they're all looking at each other like, holding their tongue in there, like the mouth, finger in their tongue going, because I mean, who the hell would want that? But I thought that was a wonderful idea with Randy's everywhere, because I ran that street one end to the other. I didn't need any of them. It was Randy's everywhere you went. I'd run from one end to the other end. The same guests would see me in all the different areas. They're like, "How is this guy? Is there more than one of them?" Because I was there. And I handled the whole deal. I would do the vehicles. I would be at the shows. It'd be the same guests seeing me all over. I became quite the celebrity. So the name for Randyland kind of stuck. And when I created my world here, this was my life in the amusement business. And of course, a lot of it has to do with the boardwalks and the games that I've been in still the business all these years and grew up on the boardwalks. But there's a big influence of Disney, of course, because of my Disney days. But as you come in,
But let me fix this.
Yeah, we lost him.
Your audio. You muted your audio, Randy. Somehow you muted your audio. There you are. I think I got it.
You got it?
Are you back? There you are. Okay, we got you back.
Okay, I was saying that up there is my junior high school gymnasium scoreboard. So this is the kind of guy I am. All my life, I've been preserving memories from my life. And the icon Randy became the Mickey Mouse of my world. Mickey Mouse is the everyman. He's the guy with the personality. And the Randy is the character of Randyland. He has the identity of every man. There's Randy doing this, there's Randy doing that, because Randy does everything. Because in my world, I don't have a giant staff of 26,000 people. I have to do almost all of it alone. So whether that's Randy in central shops, or Randy doing the show, or Randy fixing the machines, or Randy being the greeter, or Randy sweeping the floor, it's Randy doing everything because it's Randyland. And the beginning of my tour starts out with, of course, we can get my flashlight here if you can see this. That's Randy's crib. Can you see Randy's crib up there?
Oh my God, is it really your crib?
That is really Randy's crib, and you see the star that says Randy's crib. Okay, now this is really the beginning of the tour. And, because it's going to be functional, over in the corner, I have an ice cream stand. Now, there's a lot of stuff that's piled up on top of it because, unfortunately, this has not opened to the public. I have owned this building for 20 years, and I have been prevented from opening it, which is a very long story, but it has to do with the powers and those who are in competition with big operations on the boardwalk, and they don't want my area to develop into something that's going to take people away from the boardwalk. So would you say they're afraid of what I'm going to do? Yes, they are. Are they afraid of me personally? No, they don't want competition. So, up here we have more early Randy stuff. That's my trike when I was a little Randy, and my sandbox and my picnic table and all these things. And over here we have the wonderful world of Randy. Okay, because this is the beginning. Now, the stars themselves are actually Disney. They came from the All Stars. That's right. And when they remodeled, guess who got a lot of the stars?
Yeah, I wondered.
I located them and I put names on them, on the stars, so I could use them as signs. What would be better than stars from Disney?
A great idea.
Absolutely.
So you got those from someplace maybe it was called property control. Maybe.
Of course. Oh, property control. Let me tell you something. We We didn't get a lot of money when we worked at Walt Disney World. None of us did. But again, we weren't working for money. Now, a lot of people needed that money to survive, and I wasn't. I know. I wasn't rich, but I was fortunate enough that my parents had enough money to buy a house so I could work there. So I wasn't paying rent. Okay. I didn't have to worry as much as other people did. And I was so thrilled about being at Disney because I was still the guest who was now working there and living the dream. So when things came available at property control, I would be buying them. And I would be taking them to the house just thrilled. Well, let me tell you something. I spent more money a week at property control than Disney paid me. That's a fact. All the years, honest to God. And, I used to let my paychecks sit down in the room down there underneath Main Street where they used to hand out the paychecks. It would sit there for weeks because I didn't want to go down and wait in the line to get the check because I didn't need it immediately. So finally, when I'd be walking from the cafeteria with somebody else who's going to go pick up their check, I'd say, okay, I'd pull up my ID, I'd get my check. There'd be 4 or 5 of them stapled together because I didn't pick it up for 4 or 5 weeks. And then I would just put it in the bank and all the money would go to property control. So this is how you accumulate treasures. Why? Because I wasn't squeezed that I had to live and I had the extra money to do it then. And also I cared more than anybody else. I didn't go out partying. I didn't drink. I never drank at all. I socialized a few times with friends that took me out. I remember we were taking the Rosie O'Grady's and things of this nature, but I don't drink. So I don't spend a lot of money doing that stuff and partying. But I do preserve Americana through amusement parks and especially places that I'm involved with like Disney. So that's where my money went. Now, getting back to where we are, this is an old Woolworths department store. And if anybody's here old enough to remember what a Woolworths department store is, they had a lunch counter.
Yes,
all
they
Woolworths
did.
Had a lunch counter.
And they were
very iconic.
I can remember.
Very iconic. As a matter of fact, there's a section of 4 from a Woolworths lunch counter in the Smithsonian Institution because the racial riots of the 60s started in a Woolworths at the lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Yes, it
where
did.
They wouldn't serve you if you were black.
Yep.
And that was their rules. And it was a college town. So some young black people sat down and they were very peaceful and they weren't going to leave until they were served. And it became a big movement where buses came in and there's all kinds of, documentary. But then that spread to other areas of the country. So a Woolworths lunch counter has a lot of meaning, particularly with the idea of civil rights on things of this nature. So here we have a Woolworths lunch counter in a Woolworths that hasn't been allowed to open for 20 years. Why? Because it's not a permitted use to have an amusements museum on Main Street in Wildwood. Really? It's a commercial zone. Why would that not be allowed? Because they're going to dictate to you what kind of use you can have.
Of course.
So, this is a lunch counter, and it's all filled with all stuff right now. The chairs are still there. If you can see the chairs, here's the old chairs, whatever. But I built jail bars, behind the counter, and I was going to theme it prison lunch. And the workers were going to wear prison suits and they were going to hand you your food through the jails because I am in prison being oppressed with the civil rights of not being allowed to open my wonderful Randyland Amusements Museum because it's not a permitted use. So right now it's just kind of sitting here, but I am utilizing it for a little bit of a dressing table because it is loaded with Randy's who are
Look at this.
Oh my
God. They are just waiting. And of course, we have the manager, Randy, back here, and he's wearing his Disney tie and his Disney name tag. And here we have Animal Kingdom Randy, and we have Indiana Jones Randy, and this is Star Tours Randy in the orange with his Star Tours insignia, and this is the blue Star Tours Randy, and of course here we have more Randys. I think he's what is he? He is the Coke, the refreshment. Right?
Yeah.
Guys, really quick, while Randy's showing you these, Randy, would you just focus in on one of the faces of one of these guys right now for me, okay? Now I'm going to put a picture up. Do you see this face right here?
Yeah.
That's Randy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, these were all custom.
Hang on 1 second, Randy. Sure. 1 second. I just wanted to answer this. Nat, yes, we called it Willie's too.
Yeah, Nat Barry Backhouse is a friend of mine from from Australia. And I think they still have Woolworths there, actually. And they call it Woolies.
You know, I think the company's out of business. They might still call it something like that, keeping the tradition. But, you know, there's Woolworths buildings that are tributes throughout the country that still exist because they themselves are historic.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Landmarks.
Yes. Carry on.
And
show us more stuff.
And you're not allowed to open it because, oh, my God, people might actually go over there. But
show us more Randys.
The Randys were made in my image because they are my replacements. Because my time is running out. Unfortunately, we only have so much time. So I'm trying to build the replacements to run. They're my little Oompa Loompas. Like I'm Willy Wonka. I mean, they have to take over and run the show. So they're all sitting here in the waiting. And here we have the Kilimanjaro Safari Randy. He's waiting. And here's Dinosaur Randy. Here's another Animal Kingdom Randy. Here's Disney Transportation Randy. He's in his suit. And we have the Bugs Life Randy. It's tough to be a bug. We have the Trams Randy. Oh, here's a Fantasyland Randy hiding in here. That's the newer Fantasyland suit. Oh, here's look at this. The Seas. Here's the Seas with Nemo. He's waiting, Randy, and he's got his little Nemo. You see Flounder?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, and here's another transportation Randy. So all the Randys are sitting here waiting to serve you at the lunch counter. Isn't that
how many are there, Randy?
Well, there's actually an army of about 500 Randys. They're not all out of their boxes. There's tons of them still sitting in boxes, and arms and legs pump out once in a while, and they say, hi, hey, I want to get out of this box, and, you know, all this stuff.
Creepy is that?
You know, you can't do anything small. You have to do it big time. And there's also additional Randy heads. You have to have additional Randy heads.
That's getting creepy. That's getting creepy.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know, they have to have their areas. So here they are. And if you look up at the ceiling, there's all signs from all the places that I once went to as a kid on the boardwalk.
Wow.
So they're all honored with their stars telling where they're from. Here's Humpty Dumpty's restaurant and the Chick House. This is Captain Courageous from Tom's River. What do we have over here? Maruka's Pizza from Seaside, the Golden Whale from Normandy Beach. Here's the Bay Bridge Inn from Tom's River, the Hershey restaurant from Seaside Heights. Absolutely, every piece of this. It's all
history of where you are. Why would they stifle this?
Because it's money, my friend. It has nothing to do with history. They don't care about history. It has to do with money.
Yeah, but Randy, wouldn't this bring in more people? And in doing that, people to you who would then go to things on the boardwalk to check stuff out.
When you own an amusement park like Disney, you look at the big picture because you make the money on everything. They're parking in your lot. You're staying in your hotel. Yeah. You're eating at their restaurants. You're buying their souvenirs. You're paying their admission. Everything is theirs. When you're in an independent resort area, not everything is owned by the same people. There's some big players that have a lot of things, but there's many, many independents. And it's like the seagulls scrapping when somebody drops French fries. They're pecking at each other. They're scrambling for each other. And the result is a very off-balanced experience because everybody wants to do what makes the most money with the area that they have. Now, me, it's not about money. It's about preservation. It's about entertainment. But I don't have an entertainment budget. I'm not given an entertainment budget by Disney to make people happy so that they come and they stay in their resort. I provide the entertainment, and then people go over and they stay in somebody else's hotel, and they make the money. Or they go over and they buy the other guy's food at the stand. But I am the one providing the reason for them to come here while they make the money. So it's unfortunate. I'm in the wrong business as far as a business is concerned, but it's never been a business to me. It's a labor of love. Everything you see here was carried here by me, was acquired by me, was displayed by me. There's no staff here. I have no income that I could pay a crew of decorators and artists and laborers or painters or anything like this, carpenters. 100% Randy. So there are times I'll bring people in if I can't lift something and do something, but I mean, I can't afford to pay people to do stuff. I have zero income.
Right.
So what you've done, my friend, as you're walking along, you realize we're seeing the ceiling behind you. And what you've done is exactly, to me, is exactly what it needs to be. Okay.
100%.
I mean, I look up at my ceiling and my small. I feel really good about my studio now because it's a catastrophe, and there's a lot of stuff all over the place. But you got more stuff. But I mean, I've got a fire eater, a banner here, and this and that on the ceiling. I love what you've done. It's incredible.
Yes.
I don't understand why they wouldn't want the history of what is an historical place for Wildwood. I'm sure the boardwalk.
This should be the New Jersey State Amusements Museum, because
I was going to say, I don't understand why they wouldn't.
I've had the state here asking them to assist, but let's create the New Jersey State Amusements Museum.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, I only need a building large enough for all my stuff and the rest of my life to set it up and document where it came from, because I would donate everything to the nonprofit that's going to run it, because I don't have another 20 years. They've already taken 20 years from me now of what I'm doing. I have this building completely full. This building is 21,000 square feet. It is jam-packed with stuff, but that's not the end. I have 40 tractor trailers filled with equipment that I have been paying storage on for up to 35 years that I pay every month to preserve. Things that were icons from all the different boardwalk areas up and down New Jersey. New Jersey's big because I'm from New Jersey. Of course, Disney, but what I have, nobody can replace. And in addition to that, beyond having it, it's not just the guy who had the big pockets, like a collector, a millionaire collector, basketball player, whatever, to buy stuff. I have the connection. Everything in here is connected through me, through my experience. Right. I know the story from everything. Nobody else has the story because nobody else lived it. You could buy it, but you didn't live it. And that's the difference between a collector and somebody who has the passion, who devoted their entire life to it. This is a story that, in all honesty, since we're Disneyites here, I have been baffled for 30 years why Disney hasn't grabbed this story. They look to buy intellectual properties from other places to create stories. This is the Disney story. This is somebody who's lived the Disney dream, made it his life, preserved the stuff. Why wouldn't Disney be all over this to grab this and show people that dreams come true and it's a dream about them? Unbelievable. They just completely miss it. And it's not like Walt's alive. You can talk to somebody. When you write into them or talk to them, you get the form letter back. They're not allowed to review outside unsolicited material.
Yes, yes.
They're afraid of the lawyers.
Up to a point, Randy. I mean, let's be honest. You're a dreamer, you're a doer, so to speak.
Indeed.
Okay, if you can dream it, you can do it. You know what I'm saying? And it apparently you've grasped onto that, which I think is delightful. I love it. It's kind of my motto. I still buy freaking lottery tickets. How stupid is that?
I gave up on those.
But mom. The thing is, this is beautiful. You know, let me ask you this real quick, just before you get to what I know is kind of coming. There's a certain section that I personally am looking forward to with a great deal of anticipation. But before we get there, I want to ask you, who nominated, if you don't mind my asking, who nominated you for Hoarders?
Honestly, I don't know. But, you know, people look in my windows and they see all this stuff and they don't understand. They don't know. So they're like, this guy's got all this stuff piled into this building. He's a hoarder. Well, yes, I'm a hoarder. Absolutely. I hoard amusement park memorabilia and arcade machines.
Yeah, I'm proud of it. No.
That doesn't mean that people who hoard garbage aren't hoarders either. And you know what? It isn't garbage to them. They didn't save it because it was garbage. People who save stuff have a heart. They have a feeling. They have a sentiment. They see that what it was. They have the meaning for it, the connection. Their memory triggers. That's why they save stuff. They save piles of newspapers. I have piles of newspapers too because I was in a lot of newspapers. So I have, every time I was in a newspaper, I had to buy a cart full of them. on the thing. I'll tell you a funny story about that. I was the cover story for the Philadelphia Daily News one time. All right. And I couldn't get it in this area easily. The only place that had it was Wawa. And I go in there first thing in the morning, and they only got 5 papers. So I grabbed the 5 papers, and I'm half asleep, and I'm standing in line for the register to check them out. And just before I'm checked out, and the guy's going, scanning the newspapers, the lady behind me sees I am the big face on the cover for the cover story of the newspaper. And she's like, "Oh my God, that's you, that's you, that's you." And the guy gives me the papers. I put them in the bag. She's like, "How come you're on the paper?" I turned to her and I said, "You murdered 4 or 5 people, and right away they put your face on the front page of the thing." And I walked out, and she's standing there with her mouth hanging open, and she couldn't verify it because I bought all the papers. So
God, I love you. God, I love you.
That's classic. That's classic. I love
it.
Listen, let me tell you.
I have to tell you, I'm planning I'm planning a possible road trip by myself, which is I just lost my other half. Okay,
I know, Chris. Yes, I knew Chris.
And yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Yes.
And it sucks, but that's not the issue. But I'm kind of planning a road trip up to Provincetown, Mass. And
well, you'll be passing by.
Randy, I got to tell you something. If I do that in June, guess what? I am coming to Jersey.
Absolutely.
And maybe I'll see my buddy Michael Walters in New York while I'm there too. Because damn it, I gotta see you in person, and I gotta see this in person.
This is amazing.
Continue on our tour of Randyland, because if there's anybody who's watching right now, and we get a lot of people watching now. We got a lot of people watching in the future,
after the fact.
Literally after the fact. Lots of people watch. They are hanging to hear more. I know they are.
And they will. So on we go into the next station. Now, over this way, I built some interior boardwalk myself. Over here, you have the innards of an audio animatronic. And he doesn't have his shell on or his clothes on, but this is how you can see how he actually functions with all his pistons and pneumatics. And then we go up here, and I built Boardwalk, so I have my own boardwalk inside. And originally, this was going to be the skee ball area where the skee ball machines are all lined up. But then when I wasn't allowed to run it, because I'm not allowed to have people play games, I decided to use it as a display area. So I lined up a bunch of the early black and white video games, which are grandfathers. These are the grandfather games of the games that everybody knows. Like on the other side here, you have your Scrambler, your Congo Bongo, Punch Out, Asteroids. These are the games that everybody knows from the 80s. But before that, in the late 70s, you had black and white games, which are the grandfathers that people really don't know much of. So they're here so you can discuss and tell people about it. But I mean, there's stuff everywhere you look. I have an old player piano here. That's Grandma's player piano from when we were kids. And here's some old Capitol drive testers where you drive on a film where the cars are actually the old 50s cars, the ladies with the little pocketbooks and all stuff like that. I don't know if you can see it in the dark there. There's a cashier, an automatic cashier from the change booth in the Penny Arcade. And these things are the predecessors, what started everything. We have a bunch of neon.
Is anything from, I'm curious, is anything from your collection, because I know it's conceivable, I know it's very possible, but is anything from your collection from the Disney arcades at all?
Yes.
That you're aware of?
I bought games from Disney and Property Control. They came from the Fiesta Fun Center in the Contemporary and from the Penny Arcade right there on Main Street. And there's a video that I did with TNT Amusements, who's big into collection of arcade games. And he was over at the Boardwalk Mall location, which I was running up until 3 years ago when the building was sold. But over there, I had a lineup of the baseball machines that were from the Penny Arcade and the rifle games, all from the Penny Arcade with their wood-grained Formica that was finished. Yeah. Those custom baseballs were made by Disney through Mapo, and they actually were made there. They were reproductions to look older than they were, and I saved them. I have them, and they're sitting in storage. Some of them, there's a few things around here, but most of the things are stored away in those 40 tractor trailers waiting for a super Walmart-sized Randyland where all the Randys can come out and enjoy in the festivities.
Right now, just by what you're saying, just so you know, I believe this. Right now, just by what you're saying, you save them, you preserve them, you preserve the memory. there's a guy named Walt Disney up there who's going, yeah, that's pretty cool. I really believe that. He would love that. Is your Bimbo from there by chance?
What now?
Is Bimbo from there by chance? Your Bimbo?
Not my Bimbo. There is a Bimbo that is not the one from the Penny Arcade. I'm not sure if they kept that one or not, but I have the same machine. I actually have 3 or 4 of them.
I remember that from the Penny Arcade at Disney. I also remember that from the Penny Arcade at a place called Crystal Beach.
Yes.
Way up in just the other side of the border in Canada, Crystal Beach, Ontario. They had an incredible arcade with antique games. You'd have loved it. You'd have loved it.
Interestingly enough, when I worked on Main Street, the area you found me most was at Center Street. And a lot of people don't even know where Center Street is. But at that time, of course, there was a Center Street on both sides of Disney. Now the Emporium has taken over the Center Street on the west side. But that's where you found me. Why? Because I could respond from that area to Town Square to the Castle Plaza hub. I could respond quickly because I was in the center of the street. So the other guys, they used to tease because they never wanted to be responsive. They wanted to be having their third party lunch or whatever down at the patio break room or the cafeteria. Yeah. So they were looking for Randy. Where's Randy? Oh, he's over at Senna Street. They used to call it Senna Street because that's where they knew they'd find me. It wasn't Center Street. It was Senna Street. And I loved it because you know what? I said to myself, and I'm thinking, I said, where can we put Randyland? And I had my eye on that parking lot to the right side when you walk down towards the castle, going to the east down Center Street where those green doors open, that big parking lot between Tomorrowland and Magic Kingdom, that's where Randyland, I dreamed, could have gone. You'd enter through Center Street. and
I used to park there.
Into a new land, Randyland. In honor and tribute to all the things that were Disney and people living the dream and people achieving their dreams. This is a magnificent thing that everybody who goes to Disney lives to have. And here's somebody who's done it. Why wouldn't you grasp it? I don't get it. But be that as it may, as we continue our little tour, being aware of the time over this way, and I'm going to have to wave my magic hand to get a little light on the subject. There we go. Here we have, I don't know how well you can see this. This is my Tiki Room and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Oh, my favorite ride. That was my favorite ride.
You have Randy sitting there in his 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea uniform,
my God,
with his hat on his knee, and the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea fish nicely mounted, hanging from the ceiling, and they're above the Tiki Room with your Tiki drummers and your Tiki gods, and of course even the flowers. The
singing flowers.
I bought boxes and boxes of flowers and fake rubber tree plants from Property Control, loading my 1981 Chrysler LeBaron station wagon, driving on my front lawn to drag it into the house. You have to walk between all this stuff stacked to the ceiling. This was my life. And you will notice the Tencennial signs. Because now we're approaching 15 years, but this was Tencennial because that's how old we are. And here we have
I'm older. That's okay.
To Cinderella Castle, one way to Cinderella Castle, and you can't really see it on the camera, I'm sure, but there is a vinyl under horse cars going down where it says one way to Cinderella's Castle. That was pasted over the original sign underneath it that says 10 cents one way to Cinderella Castle. Because originally they charged a dime, and then it became included, so they covered it over on the signs, and there's the horse car sign. And of course,
crosswalk.
The parade.
Memories are flooding back to me. Memories of my dear friends Tina Michael, who you might have known from the mansion. A Ginger Lutz, who was an incredible. Memories are flooding back to me right now.
Wow.
Working the Jungle Cruise, working the Tiki Room. Oh, God.
Oh, talk about Tiki Room. Let me tell you something. Buenos dias, senoritas. My siestas are getting shorter and shorter. Oh, look at all the people, and welcome to Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. Hey, Michael, me amigo, pay attention. It's showtime. So it is. And what darling people I have sitting under me. Pierre, you rascal, you. Let's put on the show. Bon ami, I'm always ready, as you say, to put on the show. Oh, put on, madame. That was only for my good friend Fritz. Ach, du Liebe, I almost fell out of my Norfolk perch. I'm glad to see you all aboard the shore.
My favorite shows.
Wherever you are. My goodness, you're all staring at us. We better start the show rolling. Wait, we forgot to wake up the Glee Club. Whistle in the tiki room.
Oh, my
God. Who would not want to keep the tiki room?
Let me tell you, when I was working the Jungle Cruise, the manager's office was right behind there. And I had I went back to the Jungle Cruise after I finished the Diamond Horseshoe because I wasn't quite done with Disney yet. I had other things that were coming to me, but I had time and I wanted to enjoy myself. I loved what I did. And I went to the jungle but I got to read the original. I was in the office and one of the managers, who I won't mention his name, sweet bunch of wonderful guys worked there. And they showed me the original script to the new Enchanted Tiki Room with the new management, Iago and all that happy crap.
Iago, yeah.
I opened up the script. They said, "Go ahead and read it, Joe. Go ahead, enjoy." And I read it, and I said, "This is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen in my entire life." And you know what? Turns out I was right.
They were mocking the old show. They were making fun of the old show.
I loved the old show.
My mouth hung open when I saw that. I was like, "Are you kidding? You're making fun of the old show?"
Yes.
And you know how that ended up. Yargo caught on fire. The Tiki gods had enough.
And as he should have. Continue, please. Continue.
Keep going.
Of course, we have the Disney Studios street sign there with your Mickey Avenue in between, special effects, multi-plane layout department and such, Dopey Drive on the top. This guy here, most people wouldn't recognize him right away. It's kind of early Main Street. This is the constable from Main Street when they used to have the saxophone band dressed in things.
Yes.
Hard to see his belts, his constable and his emblem and all that stuff. He's got his yellow on his leg and all that stuff. But I mean, this is how old I am. I guess we're going into these things. But
honey, I'm older.
I'm
a lot older.
I would like to know.
I was laughing at 10 Sennial signs. Here are Bicentennial parade signs. So that's 1976. So that would be what, the 5th year that they were open?
Incredible memories. I would like to know.
I wasn't working there then, but I got a hold of them because guess what? I was still that starry-eyed kid who loved all these things. And
you can see the
let's
name
wave my
tags
hand
on
and
each
get some
Randy.
more lights
It
over
says
the subway
Randy.
here. I'm going to wave my hand. Come on, let's get some lights. Yes. Okay. Here we have some chairs that I saved. We have the Town Square Cafe before it was Tony's, of course. We have Coke Corner chairs. And all these wooden chairs are Diamond Horseshoe chairs because everybody loves the Diamond Horseshoe. So there's several rows of them all sitting there. And, of course, some menus up on the top from the Diamond Horseshoe.
Hold on, Randy, one second. Hold on. I want to show you something. What I'm sitting on right now. You ready for this? You ready for this? I got 2 of these. That's a Chef Mickey's chair.
Oh, love them. Love them.
I remember those too.
Ain't that great? Oh, I'm enjoying this, Randy.
Just sitting on these things, we have the magic. We feel it radiates through. These things are so special. They are made from molecules of wonder that everybody experiences and loves. I'm going to come down a little bit. We're going to circle around this way again, but I wanted to come over here because we're talking about the Diamond Horseshoe, and I wanted to show you my Diamond Horseshoe tribute. Here we have, of course, your operations host for the Diamond Horseshoe, but on the top we have the 3 icons. We have Bev Bergeron. That is Bev's original Diamond Horseshoe traveling salesman suit.
Yes.
The lady is Slewfoot Sue. That is her finale suit. And that is Betty Taylor's suit from the Golden Horseshoe in California. That is her costume. And I am playing Diamond Jim right in the middle. And in front of Bev, you have Bev's carpet bag and his boots. So you have your complete tribute to the most wonderful icon of the Diamond Horseshoe, Bev Bergeron, and he was so special, so special. When you went, you saw that Diamond Horseshoe, and every year you went and you saw the same guy. It was like he never left. We went probably 10 years every time going to see the Diamond and Horseshoe at least twice on every vacation, and we never saw anybody but Bev do that part.
Yep.
One day, my mouth dropped when it wasn't Bev who came out the side door by the bar. And I was like, who is this? It was Bert Henry. All the years, I never realized, I never considered that there was a second guy who did the part because he couldn't do it 7 days a week on the thing. Bert was the traveling salesman number 2. And Bert's presentation was much different than Bev. It was the same part, but Bert had a very dry presentation, and he had a sarcastic type of sense of humor. Bev was the little boy. And, everything was, funny, and the balloons, this and the other. Bert didn't make balloons, but I grew to like Bert's presentation in his own right because it was so outrageous. I mean, did you know Bert Henry was once a prize fighter?
No,
I did know that.
He used to tell everybody. It had to be because he told everybody. He says he was a prize fighter. He used to run down, jump over the ropes. He'd be standing in there in the middle of the ring. He says men would be screaming and cheering. Women would be fainting at the ringside. And he was proudly standing there in the center of the ring. Forgot his trunks. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that joke in Disney?
But you know what?
He's standing there holding his hands up. He forgot his trunks, so he's naked. The audience would be like, oh, my God. And then he would say, he had to quit because his hands went bad on him. The referee kept stepping on him every round. I mean, this was his little zingers on the thing. He told us he had 3 kids, one of each. In the 70s, he had 3 kids, one of each. He told you he had the inventor, 4 years old, putting baby alligators in the blender, told me he was making Gatorade. He had an 8-year-old who never comes to the house when he calls. The kid's going to grow up to become a doctor. He has a teenage daughter, ran away from home for 3 years. Nobody missed her. We all thought she was still in the bathroom. Oh,
I'm coming to New Jersey.
Yeah, a child is a little bundle of joy brought to your home by a long-legged, skinny personality with a long, narrow beak. But maybe your wife is built differently than mine. I was telling my wife just the other day, I said, our kids are spoiled. She said, don't be silly. All kids smell that way. Are you still there?
No. We want you to keep going because time is running out. We want to see everything.
This was Bev. This was the opposite of Bev. This was Bert Henry. And he just had this way. I mean, it was like, this is Disney World. You're talking about this stuff. And he was amazing in his own way. But Bev was still our favorites because he had that way. Now, I used to have a big afro. Huge big afro when I was, during my young teenage days. And I'm sitting there. I had to have first seat, first row. I was either table 13 or table 11, which was first row, first table, or first row, third table, dead center. Had to be there. So I would be sitting there, and Bev would come out. And I didn't know if he recognized me or not. I would always get his picture when he came out the door. And the one time I snapped the camera with my Kodak Instamatic with the magic flash bulbs. And of course, the flash bulbs don't go off half the time. So I didn't get the picture. And Ben laughed at me because I didn't get the picture. And then his cue came. So, he's shooting the gun off in the air to scare all the elephants away. And he makes his way over to the stage. So when he gets up on the stage and he's going through his routine a little later on, he points down at me sitting there, making the whole audience look at me. And then he sings, oh, see the tumbling weed, making fun of my afro. Well, the entire audience screamed with laughter, and I was like, I can't believe he just did that to me on the thing. So I was going to be ready for him, and when he was later on doing his magic wand thing, and then he would tell the kids, wait a minute, these are the wrong wands. This is the right wand. This wand was given to me by a witch doctor. And then somebody who worked there would yell out, witch doctor. And he'd say, I don't know which doctor gave them to me, but one of them did. Blah, blah, blah. And then he would say, I know it's a bad joke, but it's a free show. So I'm waiting for him. And he says, wait a minute. This wand was given to me by a witch doctor. So I yell up, witch doctor. He says, I don't know which doctor gave it to me. One of them did. Blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, that's okay. It's a free show. So I ruined his punchline to get even for the tumbleweed. Are you still there?
We're there. Keep moving along, buddy.
My video is frozen. Anyway, going back to the Bev Bergeron there, he is also wearing Bev's toupee, if you can see up top there. Okay, because Bev was bald. Bev gave me these things, and Bev would lift up his hair at the end, and everybody would scream because he didn't know he was bald, and he would say, "Well, what'd you expect? Feathers?" And he was just so magical. Now, Bev told me that this carpet bag was given to him by Wally Bogue. Bev was trained in California at the Golden Horseshoe by Wally Bogue for the Diamond Horseshoe in Florida. Yeah. And when they opened the Diamond Horseshoe in Florida, Wally Bogue gave Bev his carpet bag. And here it is sitting here. So this magic carpet bag was Wally Bogue's, and then it was Bev's, and it is standing here in the tribute, of course, to the Diamond Horseshoe, which is well-deserved for the magnificent Bev Bergeron and Bert Henry. Now, I'll tell you a quick story about Bert Henry and what happened to the Diamond Horseshoe. The Diamond Horseshoe suddenly closed. And everybody was like, how could you close this show, whatever? And I didn't know, but Bev told me many years later it was because of Bert. Bert was getting older. He was old. He already had hearing aids. And these show managers were watching Bert having difficulty get up the side stairs to the stage.
I had difficulty getting up the side stairs.
Well, they felt that he was going to fall. So they called him in to a manager's meeting, and they were going to retire him. And Bert got mad. And he told them, "You're not going to fire me. I'll sue you for age discrimination."
Oh, geez.
And when that happened, they simply decided to close the show because now we go through it for age discrimination. We closed the show. And unfortunately, that was the end of the most magical place that had personality, the guests related to. You knew those performers, and the Diamond Horseshoe closed. Of course, a couple years later.
Watch it.
A couple years later, they opened the Diamond Horseshoe Jamboree, and that worked out well for you, Joe, with Sam the bartender. But the original show ran for so many years.
I know.
I'll tell you something funny. We have a little something in common. Joe, we have a little something in common because just before they closed the show, it was suggested to me by one of the stage managers that I should go through this special audition for Diamond Jim at the Diamond Horseshoe. And it was a special audition before Ronnie Rodriguez, and I sang the Police Gazette. And they didn't give me the part because then they were closing the show. Yeah. But if it wasn't for that, I would have been standing there saying, "Some fellas see the girl that they love in a dream. Some fellas see their love in a rippling stream. I saw the girl that I can't forget on the cover of the Police Gazette. If I could find her, life would be peaches and cream. Oh, my search will never cease for the girl on the Police Gazette."
And you remember it, buddy. You remember it.
On the pink Police Gazette. Da-da, 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 da-da. And upon my mantelpiece,
hey, Randy, where are we now? Where are we now?
What's that?
I want to say real quick, where are we at? But I want to say real quick, in honor of Bert Henry, one of the last things Bert Henry said at the Diamond Horseshoe, which I echoed. I didn't say it out loud because I didn't have the opportunity, but Bert said, it's been a hell of a run, a heck of a run. And I'm not quoting exactly because this was given to me, but if we could have a wish, it would be to wish to do it just one more time.
Yep.
And Randy, I got to tell you, when I look at the Diamond Horseshoe, what we did there, and what we were fortunate enough to do there, every now and again, I say to myself, and I'm beyond that now, believe me, it would be a bitch to do it again, frankly. But I would do it. If they said, "Joe, come and do it," I'd be there. Let me tell you.
We would all go back instantly because it's in us. It's who we are. In Chris's
last days, in the last couple of months of his life, a lot of times he said, "I'm so glad to be done with that." But in the last few years of his life, a few months of his life, weeks indeed, he said, "I would go back tomorrow."
Mm-hmm.
We all want to go back to what we did at Disney. You're inspiring the hell out of me tonight. I'm enjoying this so much. Now, I know you've got something
We're
really
still going.
cool.
Over this way,
we're actually a little over time, so we wanted to move it along.
Okay. We are going to carry on because there's something coming, Jack, you're not going to believe.
Oh, no, that's what I want to get there.
Go ahead, Randy.
We lose him again.
Wait a minute. I got to bring your sound back on. Your sound is, for some reason, turned off again. You turned your sound off. There you are, buddy. There you are.
Okay.
Yep, I got you.
This wall here is a wall of newspaper clippings and magazine clippings from the Randy stories and coverage over the years. But I want to show you this first one. This here is from 1994. And this is the electronic brain. And this is the very first audio animatronic Randy. And I built him. Yes, and this ran my game when I was in Seaside Heights, and I built him to control the game, and he was way beyond anything that a Disney animatronic had because he had thousands of tape loops, words, sentence fragments that were all recorded in my voice, and he would seam them together and piece them together to react to what happened at the time with the game. He ran the entire store. It was a life form. And the story came about by an odd thing because I was running an ice cream stand in the front and a reporter came in to ask me what the difference was between frozen custard and soft serve ice cream. And I was explaining it to him. So in order to explain it to him, I had to get off the control booth with the microphone. So I turned him on to run the game and it stole the show for the reporter. So he did a big story on this. Here's the color version. He would stand there in the middle of the store and he was almost life-size and he had complete movement. He could turn. He could face the direction of what went on. Unbelievable, amazing, amazing feat. And then when I left Seaside.
We lost you again. We lost you again, buddy. Let me unmute your mic. Unmute yourself, Randy. Unmute yourself. You've muted yourself, buddy. Unmute yourself.
I can hear you.
I hope we can. Unmute yourself, buddy. Take your mute off.
Randy?
Unmute your.
Are you there? Are you there?
There you go. Yeah, you.
Hello.
I think what's happening is
I don't know
somehow
why it keeps doing that.
You're popping the mute button. Randy, we're running against time, and I know there's something you got to show us. I know there's something.
We're getting. Let me go up. Going further. You know, this tour is actually designed so I can.
Let me ask you this very quickly, because it's painfully obvious we have not scratched the surface of Randy's Senna tonight.
Oh no.
So I know what's coming. Wait.
I'm standing here. I want to show you something. Look up at the ceiling. Do you see these orange and silver lights that are going all the way down?
Yeah.
Do you recognize them?
Vaguely.
They are the guest hallway room lights from the Contemporary Resort Hotel Grand Canyon Concourse. When you stood in the Grand Canyon, you looked up and you saw all the orange and silver lights. I have them. All the surviving lights are here and on my ceiling.
Before we get to what I know is coming, I'm really freaking excited about, just so you know, because I saw what's coming sitting in the parking lot, out there, and would have killed me. Would you come back again and go longer again with us?
Sure, but we can't stop because I have that planned over at the end, and it's difficult to get there. So let me show you little things that we work our way quick. Here is my monorail setup, of course, with my Contemporary and my little Main Street setup, and here's my train station. Of course, you have different signs: Starland, Birthdayland, Studios, Walt Disney World, 25th. Going along with the train. Of course, you got to have. Let me get more lights over this way. Okay, you got to have your train bell. Oh my God, that's making the train come along. Oh! So you got to scare everybody. We missed monorail, Randy. Here, we got to get monorail, Randy. This is the early lime green and blue monorail, Randy's, of course. And here's monorail Randy's helmet hat.
And they all got Randy name tags. Where the hell did you get Randy name tags from?
He made them.
Are you kidding? I worked in how many areas? Oh, look at this. Here is the massage chair from the Penny Arcade. It was in the window when you first walked in, and you sat there and you massaged your feet. He sure was. And here's Donald. Is in the early 50s store window.
Oh,
Donald.
my God, the 50s Donald.
Here you have, of course, another Main Street Randy and Steam Trains Randy going all along here. And we're going to try to move along because you're running out of time.
Me.
Sorry.
I'm loving this. Are you kidding? Oh, my God.
Here's a row of pinball machines and games. It's all piled with boards and parts and controls, and all under it is boards and parts and controls and all these things. I was a game manufacturer for a little while. I made water race games. I was showing you on that wall when my audio was off. I have 2 United States patents for amusement games that I designed and built. And here's one of them. This is the men's room water game. You see all the men standing there? They're standing in front of urinals. And Joe has a particular picture that he loves that was kind of an inspiration for this type of thing.
Oh, my God.
The contestants stand at sinks and they have a hose and they're shooting hose water full stream across the bathroom floor past the characters who are moving back and forth, and you got to get the water into their urinal. The water rises up in a sight tube, so whoever fills it up first becomes the king of the toilet bowl. And there you have the men's room water game.
He has a patent for this.
That game won first prize for best new game product at the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions, which is the IAPA. You showed a picture there, me standing holding the award.
Wow.
And a very coveted award. And that was the first time I ever went to the show as a manufacturer, and I won the top prize.
Ladies and gentlemen, is the inspiration for that game.
I'm sneaking over here because I want to show you my stairway. We're not going to go all the way up, but I want to show you my stairway. Here you have a Polynesian Village Resort Hotel, early Polynesian wall picture, of course, with your early people, and all your Mary Blair contemporary pictures, every type, every style, both sides, going all the way up this stairway, all ways around. More Polly pictures here. More Mary Blair pictures going all the way up. Every nook and cranny is covered with everything, every wall space, anything can be found. Making my way back down the stairs here because
Randy, I want you to know, so you're aware, we are going to do this again, if you don't mind. If you would be so kind to come back with us again.
The upper level is difficult because that is the deep Randy archives and stuff was, very piled on top of each other up there. But there's things that I probably won't see in 30 years if I live that long in the archives of Randy. As we make our way around here now, let's see. Oh, remember the Fiesta Fun Center?
I know what's coming. I know what's coming.
Do you remember Morgana?
I can't hear you.
Oh my gosh, look at this.
Morgana was in the Fiesta Fun Center. She was a fortune teller.
Yes.
You put in your coin, and her face would come alive just like the Haunted Mansion. And she would tell you your fortune. People stood in line to play Morgana. Huge machine.
I stood in line. I stood in line to play Morgana.
As did I.
Notice my shirt, buddy.
There's people sometimes online. They say, "Oh, do you remember this?" And here she is. She's still alive. Yep. Oh, over here we have Epcot Randy's. We have Test Track Randy. We have Mission Space Randy. Computer Central by Sperry Randy. Of course, we have the Universe of Energy Randy and Innoventions Randy. They all get around. And we have the back. Oh, what do we got up here?
Again. Look at that.
Here's Muppet Labs, Randy. And another Sam helper. Oh, we got to go further this way. We're moving fast. We're moving fast.
I know what's coming, and you're going to be so excited when you see what's coming. You're going to be so excited because I am.
Here we have the Disney MGM Studios, Randy's. That's right. We have the great movie ride, Randy's. Couple different versions there. The Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, Randy's.
And she's noticed that, please.
Oh, what do we have here? Oh, if you had wings, are you still there?
Yeah, we're here. Yeah. We're here. We're following
Delta
you.
Dreamflight. If you had wings, became Delta Dreamflight, and then became the Toy Story. So we have the, of course, the Toy Story ride right here, and all the Randys in rows, and we even have our little guns, so we can shoot at the different targets going through. And of course, we have Tomorrowland Randy sitting there running the attraction.
This is nuts.
All right, bypassing here, going up. Here's Haunted Mansion, Randy.
My favorite.
He has to be there.
Look at the mug. Look at the mug. Look at the shirt.
Look at the what?
Look at the shirt. Do you see the shirt? Do you see the mug, buddy? Do you see
my video is not coming up well. This is a knockoff version of the men's room game. It's a toilet bowl version, and of course we have sailors running the game because it all runs to an upbeat version of "Anchors Aweigh," the U.S. Navy theme song. And of course we have our sailors working the game and Commander Randy standing nearby in order to run. Of course we have my studio cameras here from when I was doing game show. And now we're back on the same level. Oh, look what we have here. Underneath the Diamond Horseshoe, we have the giant wall map that was from the guest rooms at the Contemporary Hotel and the Polynesian Hotel.
Yeah.
And I wanted to take that home when I was a guest. And of course, another Main Street Randy there. This here is a Starcade system. There were only 2 of them made. It was from the Fiesta Fun Center in the Contemporary. The other one was in the California Hotel in Disney. And they were custom made by Disney. And it's the first linked driving game that were black and white drivers and a racing car light would go across, and you were trying to get the first one to the end. And this was from the Fiesta Fun Center. And let me tell you, getting that home in a Chrysler LeBaron wagon, one piece at a time. When they put this big sign on top of my car with a forklift, they put it on my roof rack. It was extended from bumper past bumper. The whole car sank down. The wheels were rubbing the wheel wells. I went back 535 Reams Road onto I-4, 2 miles an hour because the rubber of my tires is rubbing the wheel wells until I got back over to Williamsburg by SeaWorld. I drove on the front yard where it was grass, and I had to shove that off so it would impact into the dirt and not come back and break the window of my car so I could go to work the next day.
Randy Senna, you are my hero. I'm serious.
Look at this. Here's one for you, Joe. Seating times for the Diamond Horseshoe. 10:45, 12:15, 1:45, 3:15, and 4:45. Got to have our seating times. These are the Hercules pinball machines. Also, one of them is from the Fiesta Fun Center, but I have 3 of them because you can't have just one Hercules pinball. Remember when they started going with the bionic readers on your fingers to go in? Here's your bionic reader from Main Gate. So you have to have that. Up here, Wiederhosen, Randy. Wiederhosen from the Skyway. He has to be there. Next to my mom's cribs, you have, of course, the tapestries from the Haunted Mansion stretching room. Up 15 years, we're having a party. 15 years.
We're having a party.
Oh, can you imagine? 15. Now we're going to say 50 years.
Exactly.
And up here, we have Jungle Cruise Randy. We have Tomorrowland Randy. We have Small World Randy. We have Marching Band Randy. This, if we can get all the lights on here, let's see. Come on. Oh, there we go. This is the finale of the tour inside. This is an animated show of Randy's. Here you have Randy's.
Oh, my God.
Your band over there with your playing the things. Of course, we have to have our Disney forecourt flags that are above head. You have your moving curtains. Of course, here's Golden Mickey with his hand out displaying Randy from Main Street, of course, sitting there. Of course, we have other Randys from Main Street. They wore different costumes. Here's Guest Relations Randy, complete with his tour guide insignia and ambassador, of course. Firehouse Randy. Prince Charming Randy, his Fantasyland Randy, Pirate Randy. Here's Tom Sawyer Island Randy, Big Thunder Mountain Randy, another Twilight Zone Tower Terror Randy, Toy Story Randy. Oh, he's got his big incident. Here's Friends of Randy. There's a couple of Randy's Town Square Cafe, but here's Friends of Randy from Crystal Palace. And over here we have Plaza, and here we have the canoes. And here's Space Mountain Randy when it was presented by RCA. but that's friend of Randy.
Oh my God!
I can't do everything. Disney Quest, Randy. Oh my gosh, up there's Mr. Top Gun. He didn't come to Disney.
Randy. Oh Jesus.
Oh, what do we have here? Hiding beneath the Tower of Terror, we have a Disney hand. This is a doorknob from Mickey's Birthday Land, where you would turn the hand to open the door. Absolutely. Now, you can't have just one of those. You got to have more. Here's another one over here. And there's got to be more of them around somewhere. I know they're here. They're finding somewhere. More stuff underneath. More stuff on top.
Okay?
All around. Anywhere you go, anywhere you look. And, of course, this was like the goodbye Randys that would wave goodbye. Over there, you have a Wildwood Randy, Mr. Bubble Randy. Here's a Highlight Randy. Did you know I used to be a Highlight player? I did all these crazy things in my life. Here is the wooden phone booths when you used to have the machine guns, with James Cagney gets shot in the phone booths and all that stuff. Here's a piano player standing up here.
Killing me.
Piano. Here's Game Show Randy. And we make our way back. This is where we actually came in at Baby Crib Randy. So the whole thing is set up to be a guided tour. And I did a total focus on Disney items. I did not focus on New Jersey items at all.
But I have to tell you,
plenty. I could spend days.
I'm a little emotional right now, seeing all this stuff because, not unlike yourself, I was very lucky in that my mom and dad were not affluent, but they were well off.
Comfortable.
Yeah,
so that's a good word. To Disney World in the first couple of years and we got to go. And my brother and I used to go every year, and I saw all this stuff. And Jesus, Randy, wow! But I know there's a certain grand finale, so to speak, coming.
Joe,
and I want you to understand.
What you see here and what people should understand, it's not, some people don't get it. They see it's egotistical because there's a million Randys. It's not at all. I'm really a humble person. It has to do with preserving a way of life that one knew and loved. This is an extreme dedication.
And I want you to know what's coming.
This is somebody with no life. This is somebody who's dedicated his life to a love, dedicated his life to entertainment, bringing happiness to people. All the things I did on Main Street, you have no idea. I met celebrities. They looked at me as the celebrity. I remember one time Tito Jackson and his family was set up on Town Square to watch the electrical light parade. And they sent me over to monitor the area, which I really was pissed off at because I wanted to be over at Senna Street in the middle of Main Street. I would do my Mr. Parade routine where I would be the announcer of the Main Street Electrical Light Parade. And I did it in the middle of the street every night, twice nightly. So here I'm now being sent over because I got to monitor VIPs. And I get over there, and there's an area quadrant off, and they're not there yet. And people are asking me, what is that area? Who's coming? Who's coming? And they didn't tell me. Well, they told me there's VIPs. And I'm like, I don't know who's coming. I wish I knew who's coming, and I'm having fun with the guests with it. And then they come. They're escorted in by a VIP tour guy. And I didn't recognize who they were. And then one of the guests says, oh, that's Tito Jackson and his family. So I jump on it. I go, oh, that's Tito Jackson and his family. That's Tito Jackson and his family. And then I go, who's Tito Jackson? So then I walk myself over, and I'm standing right in front of them, and I'm right at their feet, and I'm looking down at them, and I walk back and forth a little bit, and then I lean in and I says, you can tell me, what did you do? Why do they have you all roped off like this? What did you do wrong? Because they got them now all in a rope. And they're looking at me like, oh, my God, the guest relations guy is looking, he's holding his hand on his head because he knows I'm going to not stop. And I'm going on. So, and I'm telling them how they're in luck because the world famous Mr. Parade is coming out to lead in the parade. And then when the parade announcements start, I stand in the middle of the street and I go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in just a few minutes, you will be experiencing a unique pageant presented only at the Magic Kingdom of Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland, and Walt Disney World, the Main Street Electrical Parade. This sparkling fantasy recreates many of Walt Disney's most memorable film classics with over 500,000 colorful twinkling lights. Powered entirely by batteries, some of the brilliant parade units measure up to 23 feet in height and 100 feet in length. and together stretch for almost a quarter mile. Each parade unit sets its own musical atmosphere by interweaving synchronized, electronically synthesized, familiar Disney melodies, all with the electrical parade theme and electro-symphonic musical sound. Through the magic of light and sound, you will relive Alice in Wonderland and attend Cinderella's Ball. You'll see many members of the famous Disney character family, including the Goofy, the Seven Dwarfs, and of course, Mickey and Minnie Mouse. In order for you to fully experience our parade, the Magic Kingdom area lighting will be reduced. We recommend, for your own safety and convenience, that you enjoy our parade performance by remaining in one location until the lighting returns to normal. And I did this twice nightly, and I did it for Tito Jackson and his family. And then Tito Jackson's kids want to come out to take my picture in the middle of Main Street. And just so happens that day I was wearing my rain pouch, and in my rain pouch was a 35 millimeter camera. So I pulled out my camera, bad show, and I says, wait a minute, we like to get our pictures too. So I stepped over the rope, I go, move over, and I sat on their laps, and then I climbed back out again, and I got a guest come over from the side. They come over, I told them to take the picture, I climbed back on, I'm sitting on their laps, posing for pictures with Tito Jackson and his family, and the guest relations guy is mortified, just mortified.
Well, sure he is.
Tito Jackson was having a blast, right?
I'm doing parade the next day. I'm over at Senna Street. The parade is passing by at the end, and suddenly there's people at the back of the rope where they got the managers walking the back of the parade, and they're coming over from me from the back of the parade, and they're shaking their hands, and they're mad. And I'm looking, who is this? What are they yelling at me for? It's Tito Jackson and his family, and they're mad. Why are they mad? They made Disney set that up all over again the next day so they could see Mr. Parade, and I wasn't there. And they were mad because they didn't get to see Mr. Parade. And I turned to the supervision that was in the back. I says, you see, you don't get it right. It came to see me, and where the hell did you have me over at Center Street? So this is the type of thing that went on at Disney. But, we're getting to the finale. We're turning around. We're leaving Randyland.
Before
and
Randy gets there, Randy, let me say something really quick. Before you get there, this is, wow, Randy, what you're giving me right now, you have no idea what you're giving me right now. This is really special because
I told you I am the walking Walt Disney World. I live it. And you know what? None of this is rehearsed. None of this is rehearsed. This is embedded in my brain from 35 years ago. Yeah.
Randy, hang on one second, though. Randy, hang on just 1 second. Randy, serious.
Because what I'm about to tell you, I think you're going to like. One of the last places by absolute beloved Chris worked was at Epcot Center, and he did what they called the bus. I'm doing the quote things, and he would travel around on that bus. And like I say, I'm really lucky because I know what's coming, and I'm
the Main Street omnibus. Well, we might as well get right to it because my battery saver is showing I'm getting low, so I'm going to turn the phone around. And we have the omnibuses are right here. We have two of the Epcot and Main Street Magic Kingdom omnibuses direct from Walt Disney World, made their way here to be part of my world here at Randyland on Main Street in Wildwood, New Jersey. And here's bus number 1 and bus number 2. We're going to see if I put a flashlight on so you can see they still have their Epcot insignias. When they were built, these were built in 84. The odd story with this was when Epcot opened in 82, they took the omnibuses away from the Magic Kingdom of Walt Disney World and Disneyland to take them over to the World Showcase. So there were no omnibuses at the Magic Kingdom. So then they had to build some more. These were built in 84. They first went to Epcot, and then one of them made their way back to the Magic Kingdom of Walt Disney World. So I drove in 84. So one of these buses is the actual bus that I drove up and down Main Street, USA. And the other one might have been one. I'm not sure, but one of them definitely is. And here they are to give tours again as part of reliving the magic, keeping the dreams alive. Right here from the wonderful world of Randy. I just had to turn my power on. I'm going to put you in a holder so I can drive the bus. Oh, I don't know if I can. It's a If I turn the camera horizontal, will it still work?
We are on a Main Street omnibus right now with Randy Senna, who drove the omnibus on Main Street. And Randy is going to give us a little tour right now. And I cannot tell you how incredibly excited I am right now. Go, Randy! Go for it, buddy.
I'm powering everything up, so give me a second here.
Hey, Joe, did you see Gio and JC, what they said?
What?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, go look at that. That's something Randy should see. That's really cool.
Where is it? I don't see it.
It's above when you said wow, just wow. Gio and JC. Just above. Yeah, just above.
I don't see it.
It's awesome.
Gio and JC are two more. Here it is. Check this out, Randy. Listen to this. Randy needs to have an amusement museum to share his love of Disney, boardwalks, and entertainment to the world. Bravo.
Yep.
These two guys are Disney, are former Disney character people. I don't give a shit if people hear me say character people.
Can you hear that?
Oh my God, we're on the bus.
There we have our Main Street music.
Look at this. We're on the bus with Randy Senna. We're on a Disney bus.
And I gotta put my seatbelt on.
Even better, you're being safe. Oh my God. I am so freaking excited. I really am. I'm in tears. I'm sorry. I'm in tears.
All right, welcome aboard the Main Street Omnibus, you lucky people. Be sure to sit right down. Keep all hands, arms, and legs safely inboard at all times. This will be one way to Cinderella Castle and one way only, at which time you must disembark. And away we go.
Oh my God, I can't.
Oh, I gotta get my lights on. Where's my lights? I've got to remember it's dark.
Oh my God.
You okay, Joe?
Yeah.
And away we go.
Oh my God. We're actually driving. This is hysterical.
Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. We're going down Main Street in Wildwood, New Jersey, on the boardwalk in Wildwood, New Jersey.
We're traveling down Main Street, USA. Over on the right is the camera center. That's right, the Kodak Camera Center. Is that there anymore? I don't think so. Now it's
no.
Yeah, the Main Street Cinema. Wait a minute, that's gone too. As we go further down, oh, look on the left, it's the Penny Arcade, where you can have lots of fun for only a penny. Lots of fun. Fun here on Main Street, USA. Now, just ahead, we're going to be turning onto Plaza Circle, and we're going to be passing the outside bridges to Tomorrowland, Fantasyland. And of course, there's Liberty Square, Frontierland, and Adventureland. Oh, here we go. Now, a little reminder for you, later on this evening at 9 o'clock, and again at 11 o'clock, it's the Main Street Electrical Parade. The parade of lights, half-million sparkling, twinkling, colorful lights, powered entirely by batteries. It comes out the little green doors by the little red firehouse, goes the outside part of Town Square Circle, passes the Camera Center, turns right onto Main Street, going down Main Street, turns right to Tomorrowland, passes the front of the castle, turns into Liberty Square, and then into Frontierland, ends up by the Mountain Railroad. That's at 9, and again at 11, and then at 10 o'clock. High over Cinderella Castle, it's fantasy in the sky, fireworks, truly fabulous, all set off by Tinkerbell, flying down from the castle over to Tomorrowland. It's really wonderful. You don't want to miss it. Hey, just ahead, we're going to pass this traffic light in the middle of Main Street. I know if you see that traffic lights. Maybe we're out there. Maybe it's the Twilight Zone. No, wait, that's in the MGM Studios. Oh, my goodness. We're making our way up to the Boardwalk. That's another Disney place, but it's not here. Where is it? Oh, that's over in the Epcot Resorts. We're making our way around. Epcot? Well, we came from Epcot, the World Showcase, the American Adventure. Just around the bend. Here comes Impressions Day France. Oh, I don't know where we go. Well, just up ahead, we're going to make a quick stop over by the Boardwalk Boardwalk so you can go to all the themed lands here in the Magic Kingdom. Now, we hope you enjoyed your trip here on the Main Street Omnibus. Please gather all your personal belongings, use your handrails, and watch your step while exiting. We hope you had an enjoyable time here on the Main Street Omnibus. My name is Randy. Please have a very enjoyable day here at the Vacation Kingdom. Bye-bye, folks.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put this on to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, Mr. Randy Senna, I am thrilled to have had you, Randy. I love you. I love you.
Please come back. Please come back.
Please use the handrails. Watch your head. Watch your step. Be sure to slide all the way down on the benches. That way we don't have to clean them later. Slide. You're doing wonderfully. Wiggle, slide. Oh, good.
You're amazing.
Hey, Randy.
Buddy,
hang on 1 second. Randy.
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Hang on 1 second. Joe, pull that next thing that Geo and JC just wrote. Randy and Joe's got to read this to you, and I really think that's
I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this out loud.
The one above it. The one above it, Joe. The one above it.
Oh wait. Oh, this one. Yeah.
Yes. Randy, when you hear
Randy
this,
might not know. Oh, wow. What Randy might not know is that many of us who performed in the parades and used to look forward to seeing Randy when he was on Main Street USA Ops as we performed. Randy, this is from a guy who was out there when you were there.
yes.
Look forward to seeing you, buddy. Here's another quote.
Such a wonderful time.
Gio, from John
I wish
and
we could
Gio.
all be back there again.
Gio. He would get guests all excited for our units as we passed by. He was a true showman.
We'll get a bunch of us. We'll load up the bus and we'll take a ride down to Disney World.
Now, like yourself and the great Tina Michael and oh God,
And
so
Beth.
many others, and some of them have passed. Sadly, 2 of them have passed that I know of. God damn it, Randy! You're coming back.
Gotta ring the bell. There's somebody nearby.
Please agree to me that you will come back and do this again. Will you do this again for us, Randy?
Sure,
Will you
absolutely.
give us
And I'm
more?
waiting for you to come up and see me in person, Joe.
Buddy, I'm going to tell you something. The next show might just be my fat ass driving up there and being with you in person, and we'll do it. I am so.
And can you imagine all this
I am so
and
excited.
more? Can you imagine all this and more is closed for 20 years because it's not permitted.
Unbelievable. It's
Isn't that
unbelievable.
unbelievable?
Not if
Yes.
it's Joe
And mind
Zimmer
you,
show.
I have 40 tractor trailers filled with memories that I pay storage on for 35 years, not to mention what I run in my arcade on the boardwalk, what I have in other buildings stored away. This has been a lifetime dedication to preservation.
Wow.
It's a dream that needs to be done. It has to be set up while I'm still alive to do it, to know where it came from, to make the presentation so that the Randys can continue and carry on. Non-profit organizations.
May I say, I am so honored.
Are you listening, Mr. Disney? Are you listening?
I am
You
so
can make this
incredibly honored
happen.
to have you
They
on
can
my
make
show.
this happen with a wave of a finger.
Yeah.
And add it to their offerings. And
I
what
am
better
beyond-
offering could be
I am
at the
beyond
Magic
excited
Kingdom
to
or
be able
any
to
other
have you.
place in Walt Disney World.
I'm excited to be able to have you. It has been such a joy, and I mean this sincerely. Jack, you tell me if I'm right. We're going to do
You're
this again for
Yeah.
at least. We've already got an hour and 44 minutes.
I know. And I know we're so far over time.
I know we can go another hour. Randy, thank you
Thank
so
you, Randy.
very much.
Thanks for
God love
having me,
you.
guys.
You're
I can't wait to
amazing,
watch
buddy.
it in reruns because I can't watch it while I'm doing it. So here we
That's
are.
true.
We'll be there, and I know a lot of people are going to watch you. Randy,
And there
I love you.
are a few
Take
videos
care.
on my YouTube where you can see me doing the train and the Walt
We watch
Disney
you.
Story. Believe it or
I
not,
watch
that's probably
all
the
of your
only
stuff.
surviving complete spiel on video where I do the
Yes.
complete spiel from Main Street right back around to Main Street. It's an 11-minute run, and we knew. And let me tell you, I could probably do every word right now, honestly. because
Randy,
Yeah, I
on
love
behalf
you,
of
Randy.
myself,
much because they
On
always have
behalf
me
of
on the
myself,
street.
and anybody
Randy.
else who has watched this tonight,
Yeah.
who's a Disney guy, oh my God, you brought back memories. We're coming back. I'm going to be in touch. We are coming back to
See
do
you
this
guys.
again because I don't think we've touched it. God bless you, buddy. Take care,
Bye,
buddy.
honey.
Take care. I'll see you
Oh my
soon.
God, that was delightful.
Oh my God.
That was delightful.
Yeah.
Delightfully crazy, insane, and
wow.
wonderful.
We have gone, believe it or not, for the first time ever, we have gone 46 minutes over time.
Oh, I knew we were gonna.
You know what? It was worth every freaking minute of it. God, it was good.
You know, Joe, though, honestly, it's overwhelming because he's got so much. But you know, all those memories, all those Disney pieces that are such memories for everybody. There's got to be a place. There's got to be a way. You know what I mean?
All right. I'm going to say this right now. Jack, screw it. Fuck Provincetown. You want to go with me to go see Randy? Just for shits and grins? You want to take the road trip?
I don't know if I can. I would like to, yes.
We'll put Webster in a kennel, and he can deal with that. I know he can.
I don't know about Zig. Well, no, I can.
Maybe with David
Wendy can take care of Ziggy.
Whatever works out. But what do you say we go see Randy for a couple days? And
oh my gosh.
What do you think?
That's insanity.
I could stand a road trip with you. I know I could. You know, guys, what's coming up? Let me tell you what's coming up because I am beyond excited. I've got to go to my calendar real quick. I want Jack to stay with me for this moment. I know there's only a couple of you left. And those of you who stuck it out, you really experienced something great. And
that was delightful.
Those of you who are coming to us later, you're going to experience it. And oh my God, it's good. And we're going to go again. But coming up, kids, April 1st, full April Fool's Day, we're going to have Ryan Dixon back with us. Ryan Dixon.
Don't die on us now. It's not allowed.
The pollen is incredible.
Yes, especially in your studio.
And you know Ryan Dixon, and those of you who know Ryan Dixon, yes, and Gio and JC, let me tell you, this guy was a true showman who we just dealt with, who we just witnessed. I'm so emotional. I love this guy. And I want to meet him. Jack, we gotta go.
Okay, keep telling who's coming.
Yeah.
Say who's coming next.
Let's go to who's coming. We've got Ryan Dixon coming back, who we know, yes, Ryan is an ex-porn actor, but Ryan is one of the sweetest, wonderful individuals you might ever want to meet. Ryan is a dear, dear friend. You know, this is Ryan back in the day, okay? And let me tell you, when I met Ryan, he looked exactly like that, and I was an old fat guy, and Ryan was very, very lovely to me. This is Ryan today. I don't care. He still looks as good as he ever did, as far as I'm concerned, okay? And then, ladies, that's going to be on April
1st.
April 1st, yes.
Yes.
And then, oh, freaking awesome. And sadly, I have no pictures of this guy uploaded. But on April, what is it? I said 15th?
Yeah, the 15th.
Ladies and gentlemen,
my dear friend,
Mr. Michael Wanzi.
My brother.
Who co-starred with Jack in a show called
Vanya,
Sonia, and Bob and Jack, or whatever the fuck it was. Vanya, Sonia, Masha, and Spike.
Yes.
Which I sat there and just adored these people in this production.
Michael, who prefers to go by Wanzi, but Michael is one of the best. And he's a brilliant writer, director, actor, just a real good guy.
And I'm hoping in the middle there, we've got some time. We've got Ryan, of course, on April 1st. That was me knocking over the iPad. Then we've got Wanzi on the 14th, I think I just said.
Yeah, 15th.
And then we've got the 8th open. And I know I've got a couple of invitations out there to the likes of Mr. John Dodonna, of all people, and others who are so dear to us in our business.
Yes.
Barry Mitchell and wonderful performers, magicians, and such. I know you guys like the magicians. I know you do. And we'll get to that. And I think Jack does too. Jack
yes,
gets a big kick out of it.
I like magicians, just not
so
friends.
We're excited. Ladies and gentlemen, Jack, as always, I just had lunch with you a few hours ago with you and El Alfonso, and I enjoyed it so much, as I always do. I love you, girl. I love you. And if it weren't for you, I probably wouldn't be here right now, okay?
That's true, but that's okay.
That's not COVID. COVID, that's true.
It's pollen. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. It's tough.
Okay.
I love you, girl. You take care of yourself. I will see you real soon. If not before the next Thursday, just the week after, because we're coming. Okay? Take care. Oops. Excuse me. Folks, lots coming up. And this was just the beginning. We are having such a good time. Ryan Dixon next week, in a couple of weeks, or maybe whatever the hell it is. I forget now. On the 8th, on the 1st, excuse me, on the 1st. And we're going to learn more about Ryan's life since he's moved up back with his dad and such. His mom has passed on. And I'm excited about that. And then Michael Wanzi, who I have a great deal of respect for as a performer, and I always will. Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, as always, good night, and may your God go with you. As I used to say once upon a time, God bless you. I'm going to say that too. And get your shots, damn it. And finally, look for the helpers, because you know what? They're there, kids. And ain't nothing more important than that. I love you. Love all of you. Bye-bye, everybody.